Alright guys, today we're looking at the Sumo Gear Slim IFAK. Right. If I see laser cut stuff, I'm a fan right off the bat and I want to check it out. I just think laser cutting is neat. And in theory, it lets you do some things that maybe you can't do with traditional sewing methods. And I think that this product is kind of one of those things. Right, so it's a pretty straightforward belt-mounted IFAK. It doesn't have to be belt mounted. It's kind of what it's sized for. But it uses this laser cut MOLLE here. It does not have a dedicated belt channel, so you do need to be able to use MOLLE on your belt to make it work. And then it's got this elastic face on it, with the rest of it being Cordura of sorts, and a insert that pulls out. Alright, so I'll get that insert out and show you guys what this thing looks like. Alright, so we've got the insert pulled out here, and you can see it's got these two laser cut handles on it, which are plenty spacious to find with gloves on and everything. And then it has a little pull tab here on the insert itself. Alright, so before I pop this thing open, just to try to make this easier, I used one of these March IFAK resupply kits. They're pretty easily found on eBay, and they're fairly affordable. Not the most common components though, and that kind of worked against me here. So I'm used to working with more US issue stuff, and I think this is a little outside of that scope. Alright, so you open up the insert, and you've got two halves here. Alright, so I managed to fit everything in here except for the rolled gauze, the eye shield, the casualty card, and the Sharpie. Alright, and I wasn't too upset about that. I haven't used this rolled gauze before, so I would have liked to have been able to fit that in there, but I couldn't. And then I couldn't fit the tourniquet in there, but I wouldn't put that in there anyways. Right? I would have that someplace more convenient. Alright. So it all fit in there. However, I don't recommend that much stuff in there. Alright, I'm definitely going to try this again for personal use with some different stuff that I have in the bins here. It's too snug. Alright, it doesn't deploy very easily with all that stuff in there. And I'm not really sure what of this I would want to pull out as far as capabilities go, so I probably would not stick with the March kit, but I just wanted to do something common, since I think a lot of people have bought those because they're pretty cheap. Alright, so what do you get in here? Alright, you get, in this kit, you get the insert, the MOLLE portion, and then you get two very, very generous lengths of shock cord, as well as two of these little stoppers. Right? I don't remember the name of those off the top of my head right now. I apologize. Right? And then the insert itself has these sleeves behind this field here. So what this allows you to do is it comes completely unassembled, and you can basically lay out everything that you want in here. Alright, so like I know I want my needle in here, and I want my NPA, and I want some quick clot, and then chest seals, and you can piece all of this together, and then you can look at kind of where that's going to sit, and you can assemble this however you want with the shock cord, which is a really neat idea in my mind, and I'm a fan of it. I will say that it got too bulky pretty quick, but I don't necessarily think that's a fault of the design, because the shock cord isn't really adding a whole lot. I kind of doubled up here. Maybe if I had just gone single length, I would have done better. And it did get a little messy trying to tighten it back up, but overall I thought it was a really neat product. I thought it was well done, and the user configuration on this is pretty fun. All right, it's a lot different from like a LBT 9022, where you basically have to put your stuff in a Ziploc and then it's all out. All right, so this keeps it all nice and neat and organized for you, and potentially easier to work with. All right, it's kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, right? Like maybe you want all your stuff laid out, maybe you want it all on the insert. So I can see it going both ways. Okay, the only flaw to this that I could really find is these holes are cut to the size of the shot cord. So it got to the point where it was kind of a nightmare to try to assemble this thing. All right, if those were made a little bit bigger and maybe some of these cuts done a little bit looser, you would have been able to pull all the slack out and get a cleaner overall product. You could kind of see how my shot cord was kind of bunched up when I pulled all that stuff out of there. But all in all, very, very well done product. I think this is one of the best examples of what you can do with laser cutting if you've got a design in your mind that you want to try. I mean, I don't know how cleanly you could have done these little slits and these holes if you were trying to use traditional sewing methods. Like, all of these would have to be grommets, and that would add some bulk pretty quick as well as some weight. Okay. And then one other thing that I thought maybe would be neat to try on here is, instead of these slits in here, maybe try just a field of holes just like this, and that would give you a little bit more flexibility in where you're routing stuff. You wouldn't necessarily have to follow these 3 channels. You could kind of zigzag, and that might give you a little bit more flexibility to kind of keep stuff from piling up on top of each other and keep it a nicer and cleaner package. But overall, for the price, I believe it was $60, and then trying to sort out shipping from Belgium, which ended up working out all right because I had somebody that I know overseas send it APO shipping. So it worked out really well. But I think it's a pretty affordable price for what you get. You do have this little track of moly up top, so you can put your tourniquet holder on there. There's not one on the bottom, but not a big deal there. And then it is a very nice compact package if you load it correctly. All right, guys, thanks for your time again. Please leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys want to see out of me. Thanks.